It's not every day you get to sit down with a decorated Olympian, and Kim Rhode is here at Shotshow. Let's talk about it. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel today. That is right, we are at Shotshow, and one of the privileges of Shotshow is that we get to sit down and have a conversation with some people that we ordinarily wouldn't be able to. Fortunately today, that person is Kim Rhode. Kim Rhode is a very decorated Olympian. She is a several times over gold medalist. She's also a plaintiff in a CRPA lawsuit and so many more things. Kim, I want to thank you for taking the time with us today.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Absolutely. And guys, before we get into this today, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe to these videos. It really helps with the algorithms to get the message out there. After all, we are trying to educate as many people as possible on firearms litigation, legislation, and the cultural movement that is driving political change in this state. So once again, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. It always helps, and it's a great way for you to directly contribute to a lot of that litigative and legislative effort. So Kim, I mean, the assumption here is that everybody watching this video already knows who you are, but for my sake, could you give us a little backstory on yourself? What was it like growing up? How did you get into competitive shooting? What's kind of the life story there?
Well, I think my story isn't much different than most people in the industry. I mean, it was something that was passed down generationally in my family. My grandfather was a houndsman, had 50, 60 hounds in LA, and he taught my dad, and my dad taught my mom, and my mom and dad taught me, and it was getting ready for a local dove hunt that I happened to go out to the club. It was San Gabriel Valley Gun Club at the time. And somebody said, you're pretty good. Why don't you try the club shoot? And it just mushroomed from there. It was then the state shoot and the world shoot. And I just kind of kept going. And before I knew it, at the age of 16, I was going to my first Olympics in Atlanta, Georgia. So that was, 5, 6 Olympics ago. And now 6 Olympics later, I competed and had the honor of representing the United States and walking away with six Olympic medals in 2 different events, and of course, still going for it.
So it's just kind of something that's culturally ingrained in you. I'm sort of curious as far as the competitive shooting is concerned. What's the training that goes into it? What's the mentality that you have to have when you're competing at such a high level?
Well, I think every Olympian will tell you just don't miss.
Yeah.
But I think that's the trick. Is I always say it's everybody misses, but the trick is not to miss when it counts the most. And that comes with putting a lot of lead downrange. I mean, I average anywhere between 700 to 1,000 rounds 7 days a week when I'm in town. So there's a lot of dedication, a lot of hard work, a lot of repetition, a lot of overcoming obstacles, because that's really what the journey is about when you go to the Olympics. I mean, one of the most common questions I get asked is, what is it like to stand on that podium and watch that American flag go to the top of the pole and hear that national anthem? And, when you're standing up there, it's about that journey. It's all those moments that flash, people telling you can't do it and overcoming the obstacles, that flash in the seconds as the flag is raising. And I think that's why every Olympian gets so emotional and why they come back again and again. But at the same time, I guess the best way I can describe it is every emotion is hitting you at once. You want to run, scream, cry, jump up and down, and you just don't know which one to do first.
Right.
It's addicting. I think that's why we keep going back, at least for me.
Well, fair enough. And the training is something that we can understand. We try to facilitate a lot of training as far as CRPA is concerned. But let's talk about that comment you made, putting a lot of lead downrange. Let's take you back to 2016. Gunmageddon happens. We see a whole host of firearms regulations that come down as far as legislation is concerned. And a part of that Proposition 63, we saw regulations on ammunition no longer being able to import it, not able to have it shipped to your house, as well as the implementation of the background checks. Put yourself back in 2016 when you saw that legislation come out. What was going through your head? What was the feeling you had in the Second Amendment community?
Well, I think everybody that's a shooter understood what was happening. And for me, it was devastating. Obviously, it meant that I couldn't get ammo to be able to train because the ranges didn't have the ammo that I shot at. My ammo is very specialized. It's an international 7/8 ounce, 24-gram load. Very specialized, very specific. We're not allowed to shoot reloads in competition, so it was very damaging to me and to my sport. So that was the initial reaction, and knowing that I wouldn't be able to get the ammo, as well as when I go and compete. If I purchase ammo, I can't bring one shell back. But then what do you do if you're at a match and you have extra? It's not like you can leave it there at the border, and they had no plan. So there was a lot of things that directly affected me, but then on a bigger scale, understanding the Second Amendment, understanding what it is that I wanted to be able to pass on to my own son, to make sure that the sport and everything that I love and those traditions that I were taught, he would be able to do. So there was a lot of kind of unknowns in that moment or in that time, because we understood some of it, but then when it really took effect is when everybody was like, whoa, this is way more than what we thought.
Yeah, and it ends up being a lot more detrimental. I mean, I remember just the sheer chaos when when they started implementing the background check system. You had people who shouldn't be denied on
and
these
they were
background
getting denied
checks.
left and right,
Yeah.
And then you also had, so much more information that they were taking, as to the types of guns and, well, you don't have that gun. Why do you need that ammo? I mean, it was just wild. And thankfully, we fought it. And of course, I signed up to be one of the lead plaintiffs and understood what that meant. And we've been fighting it now for 8-9 years.
Well, and that really accentuates, because you already were an advocate for the Second Amendment, but that accentuates the advocacy there. What's the process been like just as a plaintiff and kind of being elevated in that litigative portion of the Second Amendment community?
Well, I mean, I think nobody likes lawyers and nobody likes being in those situations, but, you have to do it. It's something that's important, and especially in this case, as the bill didn't make sense. For me, it was important to step up for many people, not just for myself, but also for the future. And so it was an easy thing. When I look through all the heartache and everything that we've been through, all the different stuff with the lawyers and things, I wouldn't change one bit of it, because I know what I'm doing is right. And ultimately, we're on the right side of the law.
Well, and
at least in my opinion.
We keep being shown that we're on the right side of the law as we have continued to see small victories throughout the course of this lawsuit. I know in the middle of 2024, we saw, what was it, maybe a 4 or 5 day period where we were able to import ammo because we got that decision at the federal district court. But let's talk about that.
You're welcome, by the way. No, I'm just kidding.
Let's talk about, though, if we do get a final judgment on this case, whether that's at the Ninth Circuit, the en banc, or the Supreme Court, we're able to no longer have to go through these background checks. We're able to import ammunition. I know that 2016 might not sound like a long time ago, but there is a large portion of California that's kind of gotten used to the system we are now. What's it going to mean to you, and what do you think it's going to mean to the community to get back to the status quo?
Well, I don't think anybody has really gotten used to it. Let's just throw that out there, because it's a real pain. It's something that has far-reaching as far as people being denied still. And the reality is I'm excited about the possibility of being able to purchase ammo again in the state of California. I mean, I'm excited about, being able to travel and compete and be able to not worry about having shells left over, but also what that means for future generations like my son and everything else. I just think, the rolling back of that and some of the others is very important. And yeah, I'm excited to see that.
Well, I think also under kind of this portion of Bruin that we have, or this era of Bruin that we have, it's going to be a big statement when we start seeing some of these lawsuits come back as victories, really set a precedent for the future. And I think that,
and for future cases too. I think
Agreed.
that's the other thing too. I mean, this really isn't just about this one case. I think this can be implied into other things and other aspects of the Second Amendment for the future. So it's really just hopefully stopping not only this, but also others for the future down the line, and telling them, hey, look, you can't do this. But I don't think it's gonna, from what I understand, they don't really care. They're gonna keep going, keep coming at us, and we just all have to band together,
keep fighting,
and the fight.
And the victories will be the victories. Well, what about you? I know that you're still very active in the community. What is on the horizon in 2025 for you?
Oh my goodness, we could be here all day with all the stuff I've
I
got.
got
I got so many irons in the fire going. I think the biggest one is I'm obviously still competing, still training. I'm leading as we go into the second selection match for the team event on the U.S. team. We have a match in Palm Beach, Florida in about a week, and that'll determine all the World Cups for at least the first portion of the World Cups. So I've been practicing really hard for that, as well as, looking forward even into the future for the LA 2028 games. So, that's my hometown crowd, and having at one of the local ranges I'm very excited about. I can't wait for LA 2028 to make the announcement. And just many more things. Obviously, I'm running for the board of the NRA as well. I'm currently on the board, but I'm up for re-election, so I appreciate all the support. I think I bring a very unique aspect as far as the competitive side and competitions, but we need to come together. We need to work. We need the NRA. We need the CRPA. We need these organizations more than ever. And I just have to say, I really loved Trump's inaugurational speech. I know I was cheering him on. It was just fantastic. So I think we are going to see a golden age as we move forward, and I just can't wait to see what that brings for all of us in our industry.
I couldn't agree more. The Second Amendment movement has a lot of positive things to look forward to right now. We're certainly going to be rooting for you. I wish you all the best, and I really appreciate you taking the time to come on down here and talk with us.
No, my pleasure, and please, everybody, support CRPA. It's a great organization. They do so much for all of us, and I think more than any of us even realize. So it's so glad to be here, and let's keep continuing to put a lot of lead down range.
Absolutely. And guys, if you like content like this and you want to see more, please, once more, be sure to like, share, and subscribe to these videos. Guys, drop a comment if you want to see Kim Rhode win another Olympic gold medal. We are certainly going to be rooting for her, and we will be sure to follow along as those competitions move forward. Thanks, guys, and we'll see you on the next one.